I'm currently based at my brother's girlfriend's house in like North London, so I'm not in Reading at the moment. So like during this time, I think um I went through like a huge process of like being quite quiet, like especially with like the art community, because I personally was just struggling with even like with resources and space and painting in general. So I think I've just been a bit to myself. Um, but as of recently, I've kind of like got back into it and started to like book more tutorials and just started to like listen to other like people to help me with my work and like help me with my guidance through this. So I've like, well, due to like the limited space, I kind of like stopped painting for a little while and I started to use my photography work and started to like Photoshop them. It was fun to experiment like digitally. But now that I've got given more space and now that I'm like living at my brother's girlfriend's house, I have like a whole room like provided for me to like paint. So I've been like from those Photoshop pieces that I've been making, I've been like painting them. So I've been, well, like from like last summer, I've been like um taking like taking photos using like film, and through that I've like just taken like from like my previous pieces from like the previous years. I would look at old photographs and memories. I've like kind of shifted that and like kind of started focusing on like moments currently in my life, like the current time, and I've been just documenting like me going out with my mates or just like places and people that I see. I've just been photographing and documenting them and myself. Then through that I've like then started to create um pieces where all these different photos kind of combined into one, so it kind of so the pieces that I've been like combining through Photoshop are all like fictional and they're not an actual reality. I think the topic of my like work is called fictional realities because I'm quite interested in the way of how we take photos and sometimes it's so staged and it's not so real, and people's perspectives of that moment when the picture was taken can be quite different to other people, and it's sometimes like when you see a smile, it might not be a happy moment for that person because it's all being staged. And so I've been trying to like show that distortion of that reality through my Photoshop works. And so like they tend to look weird and a bit like odd and like it doesn't make sense, but that's what I take from that moment. And yeah, for the first part of the year I was doing a load of like Photoshop pieces because it was just a lot more easy to access. And then as on like January and onwards, I've just been like using those pieces that I've like digitally manipulated, got them printed out quite largely, and then drawing them up on pieces of wood and then using acrylics to paint these these distortions. And yeah, so that's what I've been like been doing so far. If you're just struggling with your environment, I think it's really important to just, if you can, like try and like change the environment that you're in. And if you are able to like go back home, or if you're able to shift to another place to work, then I think you should really like take that opportunity and do it. And that will just give you a it'll give you a new routine basically, because with no studio, what I always personally treated the studio as like my workplace. So I'll go in there in the morning and or in the afternoon, and I'll sit there for like 6 hours, and during those 6 hours I would paint. And but now that we don't have that that access, I think it's really important that if you're able to change your location, then definitely do that. And also try and like have a routine, really just try and like build like a routine where you're like, oh, okay, 5 hours today, every 5 hours between these hours I'll paint. And even if you don't paint or do anything, at least you're still sticking to that routine.